hilarious turn of events. After failing a lie detector test and confessing
and denies paternity, reasons often revolve around child support. In Miss Chappelle's case, Mr. Todd's fiancée, Miss Collins, challenges the paternity claim in paternity court, while also suing for babysitting expenses. Oh, isn't that a classic from the paternity archives?
I had a job, Your Honor, and he was babysitting the baby for me. And after he didn't babysit anymore, I had to start paying $75 a week. So I had to quit my job, and I don't have a job anymore. And here's my papers right here.
Their connection escalated swiftly into an argument, with Mr. Todd contending that their relationship wasn't romantic, but rather a situationship. Now let's delve into that aspect of the situation. We might have a candy treat packed for us. Just look.
Were you using protection every time?
No. The time when we met, I was pregnant. We never used.
When we met, she was pregnant.
We never used. But he accepted me with
but the other baby,
with someone else's baby.
What kind of a relationship is this? They openly acknowledged involvement with multiple people. Miss Collins, are you present? Mr. Todd had the audacity to confess to infidelity. Mr. Todd, there's no need to boast about everything. Come on.
At the time, she was messing around with other guys, and by me being young and just doing crazy stuff, I go and mess with her at the same time too. So she was messing with men all at one time. But this one never my girl. I was in a relationship with someone at that time, and she was messing around too.
Here's the twist. In this already complex situation, Miss Collins allowed Miss Chappelle to move in with them, all in the name of a specific DNA test they had in mind. Just your regular house guest arrangements, right? Nah, it was more than that.
She was not even in the picture, Your Honor, so she has nothing to do with this.
What picture that was?
2011, I was pregnant with someone else, baby. Our baby was already here when they met, Your Honor.
All right.
Our babies were here before she came in the
All right.
While that may sound reasonable, the situation becomes more intricate due to Mr. Todd's presence at the hospital during Miss Chappelle's delivery. The doctor made intriguing comments about the baby's resemblance. Will this detail be crucial in unraveling the paternity mystery?
Once I got in there, the doctor said, who is the father? What one of y'all the father? I said, who it looked like. The doctor said, it looked like my friend.
No, it said your
On
brother.
God.
It said it looked like his brother.
On God.
It said it looked
On
like
God.
his brother.
No.
He had his two brothers with him and said it looked like his brother.
Let's get some order.
Indeed, it's hard to justify that both the plaintiff and the defendant have been involved with each other and others. It's a complex situation. Let's return to the case where everyone has shared their thoughts, but the mess persists.
What a mess!
Messing with no baby mama. I'm messing with my girl who I with for 8 years.
All right, listen,
Not my baby mama.
It's like y'all playing tic-tac-toe or something. I mean, you just here, there, everywhere. What?
But this is his baby, he know it.
All this shouting, can't we maintain some civility? The endless allegations are getting overwhelming. Let's shift our attention to the paternity results to change the atmosphere. How about that? So, here's the final verdict by your favorite paternity queen, Judge Lake.
Mr. Todd, you are not the father. Oh. And you're smiling, Miss Chappelle?
Yes, because at the end of the day, this is his child. What they did, they say, I ain't having sex with no one else. And I know this is the only man I was messing with at the time.
Yep, I know it.
In this dramatic paternity court episode, Miss Percy has called upon the experts to finally resolve the paternity dispute. She firmly believes that Mr. Gale is the father of her 26-year-old daughter. Yes, you heard that right, a 26-year-old. She's also seeking a financial claim of $200,000, as if she had been raising a high-value asset.
I don't know why she won't let this man be a man and be with his children. He needs to spend time with his children.
My wife has never stopped me from seeing any of my kids.
Mr. Gale, that is so not true. Every time my daughter calls him, it's like, oh, I can't talk to you right now. Tanya's sitting right here.
Right.
The duration of Miss Percy and Mr. Gale's relationship has been specified as approximately 4 to 5 years, although there were claims from some sources indicating 7 years. prior to their marriage, these details do raise some questions about the timeline of events.
We broke up a long time ago.
We were still sleeping together.
We slept together
We
one
were sleeping
time.
together the whole time you was with Tanya.
No, we wasn't. We
Yes,
slept
we
together one time,
was.
Your Honor.
He's still trying to sleep with.
What?
Whoa! Woo! That's cute.
Nobody trying to sleep with
Don't
you.
lie. Don't lie.
But here's the juicy twist. Miss Percy never revealed her pregnancy to Mr. Gale, and it wasn't until Miss Tidra was about 2 years old that Mr. Gale began to suspect he might be her father based on physical resemblances. Quite the revelation, isn't it?
When I asked her, I said, tell your mother see if your mother can go half of me on a paternity test.
That
Her
was
mother
after the
never
fact.
got back to me, never said anything.
That was after the fact. That was just recently.
No.
That was just recently this
No,
past year
no,
when
no.
you was like, oh, you need to find out
No.
where you really come from, like as if I'm a charity case.
Well, the possibility certainly took more than 26 years to surface. The determined Miss Glenn took the initiative to initiate the paternity test by reaching out to Mr. Gale and expressing her eagerness to determine if he was her father. But he had another spin-off in his mind.
The first time I heard of Teacher being mine was when she was 15. Her mother called me.
Oh,
I
my
was
God.
standing on Market Street in Long Beach.
Oh, my
And she
God.
said, oh, too, you know Teacher's your baby. And I laughed. I thought she was playing. When my wife came home, I told everybody jokingly, my wife was serious. So I stopped smiling. That's
Oh
what,
my
that's
God.
the first
That's a lie.
time
That
I
is
know.
such a lie.
My apologies for the commotion. Let's all maintain a civilized demeanor here. Folks, we are after all in the midst of a court session. As for Mr. Gale, his anxieties about the test results stemmed from uncertainties about his possible fatherhood and the impact it could have on his marriage.
Every time I get on the phone, she's like, oh, you're on the phone with your little friend. Like as if I'm nothing. I'm somebody. I may not have had a father, but I'm somebody. I don't have no problem with her. She's laughing and giggling like it's a joke. And it's not a joke. Your kids grew up with their fathers. I did it.
Okay, it seems like there's been quite a bit of talk about Mr. Gale's wife, and from what I've gathered, she's being portrayed as the antagonist here. We definitely want to hear her side of the story before the plaintiff goes all out Super Saiyan on her.
You know, he went on and said, okay. So I said, okay, you was there, so there's a great possibility that you could be her father.
So why
because
did you
you
say
was there.
take a paternity test?
How do you know what I said? You don't live in my house, little girl.
I don't,
But
if
look how
you
long
was,
it took
I'm
if
not
he
gonna
found
look
out
for a
if she was
woman.
15,
Okay,
though.
you killing me on about how long it took. We're here because you weren't careful.
That seems to sum it up pretty well, doesn't it? Miss Percy, you find yourself in paternity court today because, let's face it, there were lapses in being cautious. So, on that note, how about we bring in the paternity experts to work their magic and reveal the results?
Mr. Gale, you are not her father.
Hear me, boo. Holla at your girl. Let's roll.
What you talking?
No problem.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
you glad.
Yes, I am.
No.
I've always been glad.
You
That's
ain't
why
always
you
been
never
glad.
knew it.
You thought you was gonna have
Mr.
me back.
Gale,
please.
Mr. Gale and Miss Percy, I can't hear any more of this.
It appears that we were dealing with a genuine courtroom dispute here. Miss Mitchell and Mr. Jordan's first encounter dates back to when she was just a child, learning to tie her shoes, while he had a different kind of tie to his alleged child support obligations. This certainly resembles a complex paternity case.
I came here to see if he is my biological father because I lost my mother a year ago from breast cancer. I just want to fill that void. I don't have no one else. It's just me. And I just want to make sure that he is my father. And I just want closure.
I understand. I lost my mother as well to breast cancer, and I couldn't imagine, ma'am.
This individual abruptly ceased his support, leaving the woman in a difficult situation. It's hard to believe it's not your responsibility, but showing some compassion would be appropriate. Nevertheless, Miss Mitchell asserted that Mr. Jordan initially recognized her as his daughter and began providing child support. So, what's the reason for his subsequent denial?
Wanted me to adopt her, so I changed my living conditions, bought bedroom furniture, got her set up to go to school and everything. I was gonna adopt her, but her mom reneged on it when it was time to go to court, and I never heard from her again. 4 years after I found out she even existed, and I tried to see her at least twice a month, but her mom wouldn't allow that.
The source of doubt appears to be the one-night stand and the significant gap in time between the baby's birth and the reconnection between Miss Mitchell and Mr. Jordan. The defendant has made an interesting attempt to distance himself from Miss Mitchell, which some might find amusing.
Did you stand there with her?
Yes, I
He
did.
stood there with me. He stood there with me as I was doing my brakes. He made sure that all the books were so-called tightened up. I left, went to work the next day. My brakes came off on the freeway.
Wow.
Yes, I was scared. I didn't know what to do.
It's hard to tell if it's amusing or concerning, but the notion of having no brakes in a car seems like an all-or-nothing approach. However, one intriguing detail stands out. Mr. Jordan only learned about the child when she was 7 years old. Yet it's worth noting that the plaintiff had her own reservations and uncertainties.
Talk to me about your dogs.
For one, I don't look nothing like them. Hello, they Amazons. Me, I'm short. I'm only 4'8". They up there around 6'2" or something like that. Then secondly, my birth certificate don't even have his name at all. I don't have his name, nothing.
So you're not listed on the birth certificate,
And also
sir.
his mother even doubted me.
According to the plaintiff, she expressed feeling like a mere punchline to Mr. Jordan. He entered her life later, but never demonstrated any care or empathy for her emotions. It raises the question, Dad, what were you thinking? His involvement could have brought some form of resolution and comfort to the distressed woman already.
Because just like when she said she got married, I knew nothing about this.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yes, she
When
did.
she
She the one who called you talking about, she wants you to walk you down the aisle. He
four
came
children.
over to my house and
Okay.
was like, oh yeah, you want me to walk you down the aisle? I said, no, I'm gonna have my grandfather walk me down the aisle.
Ms. Wagner, being the eldest daughter, remained unaware of Shanti's existence for a significant period and harbored suspicions regarding Shanti's parentage. In this paternity court case, as is often the case, every witness seems to bring something intriguing to the table. Let's delve into that aspect now.
Did you know growing up that you potentially had a sister? How did you regard Ms. Mitchell growing up?
I'm the first one.
Of course, she always thinks she first.
I am the
about
first
everything.
one. We don't know nobody else. Don't
Whatever,
be girl, stop playing with your
whatever.
face. This is fake right here. All this. That's all
No,
fake.
what you are
She
is
is
fake.
not like that. That is all fake.
It seems like something significant has been stirred up. In my view, the young girl may have simply desired some attention from the supposed father and the family. Before they all get caught up in another heated argument, why don't we consider following the DNA testing route to resolve this paternity dilemma once and for all?
Mr. Jordan, you are her father. What do you feel, Ms. Mitchell?
I guess I just want him to treat me better as a daughter.
Mr. Page believes Miss Sutton cheated on him, married the other man, and took their son to another state. Miss Sutton, who has a 2-year-old daughter, admits to having sex with both men around the same time and seeks a DNA test to determine her daughter's paternity, aiming to rebuild trust in her marriage.
Why did you and your ex-fiance break up?
You would never believe what happened. My ex-fiancée, Alicia, cheated on me
I sure
and moved to another state with my son. And then
So wait, back me up. Back up for a second, Mr. Page.
Can I start?
You're together.
we was together, Your Honor.
You're engaged.
Yes.
Miss Sutton acknowledges cheating due to Mr. Page's absence and indulgence in smoking and drinking. They have a 3-year-old son together, but their relationship deteriorated over time. Mr. Page mentions his long work hours and lack of support from Miss Sutton.
We have a 3-year-old son, and yes, he was there at the birth of my son. But the reason why I cheated, because you was never home. You want to do what you want to do, smoking, drinking. If I'm hearing you out doing all these things, why I can't go do? Y'all can take that picture down, because that's not a happy family no more. That was the beginning.
Miss Sutton and Mr. Page have engaged in heated accusations about infidelity during their relationship. Miss Sutton confronted Mr. Page, accusing him of sleeping around, while Mr. Page claims he caught her in the act with one person. Their exchange is rife with tension and accusations.
If your homeboy is saying you don't even want me to tell, that means you sleeping with him. You sitting up here acting like I was such
And you
a hoe and I
confronted
cheated.
him about this?
She never confronted me with that, Your Honor. She would always say, I'm tired. Yes, you're right. You're tired by sleeping around. And then I told her one day.
Sleeping around
Yes,
with one person.
yes, it don't
but
matter
how
how.
many people you sleeping around with?
Miss Sutton explained that after hearing rumors of Mr. Page's infidelity, she decided to find out for herself. She eventually began a relationship with another man who is now her husband. she admitted to initially lying to her husband about the reason for calling the other man.
Miss Sutton, what you heard was that he was out sleeping around.
I didn't believe it at first because I want to find out on my own. I'm not just
So
finna
what did
believe
you
no
do?
female. We kept building the relationship. We both knew we wasn't unhappy. I was in nursing school. I got tired of hearing that. I found somebody else who is with my husband now. That's who I cheated with.
Miss Sutton discovered she was pregnant, but initially didn't want to reveal the truth about who the father might be. She decided to try to work things out with her fiance, Mr. Page, before he found out about her infidelity.
Mr. Page, you are her father. No emotion, what are you feeling?
I always want to pressure daughter. That's my first daughter in the family. And I'm going to love her and raise her.
Mr. Cooper, I see you feeling very emotional. I know this wasn't the news you wanted.
Miss Douglas is suing Mr. Jones for a paternity test regarding their daughter Cheyenne. She admits to cheating on him with his cousin, which has fueled Mr. Jones's doubts about Cheyenne's paternity. Mr. Jones, who has worked hard to support their children, wants a definitive answer regarding Cheyenne's paternity due to these odd doubts.
Do you believe the defendant has reason to doubt?
Yes, Your Honor, I do, because I did make a mistake. I slept with his cousin, and the condom had broke. But before that, Tyrone was downstairs sleeping with my cousin. He was still having sex with his baby's mom. He was doing him, basically, but yeah, I did.
That was a mouthful.
However, Douglas admits to sleeping with Mr. Jones's cousin while they were in a relationship. However, she didn't bring up her pregnancy with Mr. Jones until later. A week before her daughter's birth, Mr. Jones signed the birth certificate and became a good father.
We actually wasn't in a relationship at the time when she slept with my cousin, but she basically just denied doing it up until the point.
What did you feel, Mr. Jones, when you heard Ms. Douglas say, I'm pregnant and it's yours?
I wasn't too sure about it, and when she did tell me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do.
Miss Douglas initially considered denying her infidelity, but eventually told Mr. Jones the truth when her daughter was 2 years old. They are not in a committed relationship, but Mr. Jones has been involved in their daughter's life. When Miss Douglas was pregnant, Mr. Jones knew she was pregnant by another man who was incarcerated at the time.
Was it any part of you that was excited? Did you?
I mean, it was, because I actually was there numerous of times during the pregnancy. It was just in the mix of that I had kids already, so I wasn't there like I should have been knowing she was pregnant with my child, because I wasn't really sure at the time.
Mr. Jones was indeed with another one of his children's mothers when he went to Chicago, as claimed by Miss Douglas. This situation is quite complex, with multiple relationships and children involved. Miss Douglas mentioned that she's not involved with anyone else, while Mr. Jones continues to communicate with other people, including his other child's mother.
As I read the statement this morning, I recall saying you had 5 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's as if you're speaking about this thing like it's, oh yeah, because I was with my other child's mother and I just went on to Chicago. And then, I mean, you all 5 children potentially together.
Miss Douglas admits to engaging in infidelity in response to her suspicions about Mr. Jones. She expresses her desire to be in a committed relationship with him and create a stable family for their 5 children. However, she also points out that Mr. Jones continues to communicate with other women, causing her distress and leading to her actions.
Mr. Jones, you are not father.
She knew this from the beginning. Now I'm embarrassed, gotta face public humiliation because she didn't want to be honest before we came here.
Your Honor, I didn't know. I didn't even know the
You
kind of
knew,
busted.
man.
I didn't
You
even know
knew.
the kind of busted. How would I know if he's not the father when we're sleeping together every day?
Mr. Darrensburg seeks paternity test results, asserting he's not the father of Miss Wilson's 22-year-old son, Damon, citing previous claims of another man being the father. He's intent on suing Miss Wilson for over $20,000 for claimed unwarranted child support if proven correct. Conversely, Miss Wilson labels Mr. Darrensburg as deceitful and adulteress, revealing his simultaneous relationships with multiple women.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
argue that Mr. Derensburg is a womanizing, lying, cheating, poor excuse for a man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim that during your relationship he was married and engaged, I don't know how you do that, to other women
Yes, Your Honor.
while having an affair with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wilson admits to being intimate with another man while involved with Mr. Derensburg. Mr. Derensburg asserts they only had sex once and he had no knowledge of Ms. Wilson's pregnancy until 2.5 years after the child was born. He remained with his girlfriend during and after his involvement with Ms. Wilson.
Well, first of all, we only had sex one time. She was promiscuous. I was promiscuous as well. I didn't find out 2.5 years after she had the kid.
So you never heard from her anymore after this?
I saw Miss Wilson at my girlfriend's New Year's Eve party.
Oh, because you went on back to your girlfriend after that.
Of course.
Mr. Derensburg refused to consider the possibility that Miss Wilson's child might be his when he saw her pregnant, adhering to a see no evil, hear no evil mentality. It was not until 2.5 years after the child, Damon, was born, when a fraternity brother mentioned his kid that he took any interest.
2.5 years when Danita had the child. One of my fraternity brothers come up to me and asked me, hey man, did you see your kid? I said, kid? What kid? Danita Wilson. Oh man, no. So my grandfather and I, we drove down to Danita's home to see
so you
if
went to
this
see
kid.
about it.
Right, because, I mean, hell, kid.
Miss Wilson admits that the father's name is not on Damon's birth certificate and denies that another man was paying child support, asserting Mr. Derensburg made that up. Tensions rise when Mr. Derensburg implies Miss Wilson was promiscuous, recounting an instance of a man allegedly leaving her place. Both acknowledge they had colorful pasts. The animosity between them remains evident.
Was there another man paying child support
not for
your
not
son?
for Damone. No.
Okay, so there was never anyone
That's
else
something he made up in his mind to keep
It was not,
him
and also
in denial.
and keep him in denial from being
Judge,
the father of.
another time I come in, seemed like a guy was jumping out the windows.
A dispute unfolds between Mr. Derensburg and Miss Wilson regarding child support payments and financial responsibilities, revealing a complex and tumultuous history. He became aware of deductions after a settlement was seized, while she accuses him of avoiding payments by quitting jobs. The dialogue reflects long-standing financial and relational tensions.
Mr. Derensburg, you are his father.
I can say one thing. Can I just say one thing? I wasn't mad because he didn't come get me for my haircut. I'm mad because look how long it took you to come back after.